I'm not one to listen to sermons. Most Sundays at church I'm on my phone. But I heard a sermon a couple weeks ago delivered by my friend Brad. This is Brad. And it was all about, the path that we're on and getting lost and how to find ourselves again. He made 3 really good points. We don't get lost on purpose. It's very true. The second was that we're lost before we realize that we're lost. Also true. And the third thing he brought up that I found very relevant, we end up wherever the road we're on ends. Okay, that seems obvious, but let me tell a story to illustrate all 3 of those points. This was back in 1998, I'm pretty sure. The late 90s are kind of a blur for me. Not because I was on drugs, it's just because they're a long time ago and I wasn't paying that much attention at the time. My friend Bob and I, we'd gotten in an argument. I actually remember what the argument was about. Bob is a big lover of all kinds of music. I like music, but sometimes when people love things that I don't necessarily appreciate, I can be a bit of a turd. I was making fun of Bob's music. Specifically, I was making fun of Bjork. Because Bjork. Anyway, Bob didn't like that much. He was very angry about all that, and so we didn't talk for several weeks. One day, he just kind of drove by in his car, and he parked in front of my house. I walked outside, not sure where it was gonna go, if we were gonna have to fight. At the time, I looked like this, and Bob looked like this. I was really hoping that there wasn't like a fist fight in the works. It was one of those moments where we both realized that we were tired of not talking. We were tired of not being friends. And so we didn't even address Bjork. He said, "Hey, you want to go for a drive?" Now, I understand that this sounds like he was luring me away from my safe zone so that he could leave me in a trash bag in a ditch by the road. But at the time, he seemed very sincere. This doesn't end with me like having to escape from like a shallow grave or anything. It was fine. Everything was on the up and up. So I jumped in his car, which was a 1983 Dodge Omni. I bought a bunch of Laffy Taffy and some soda and got on the highway and we drove. Which turned out to be not terribly far, to Auburn. If you're unfamiliar with Northeast Indiana, this is where Auburn is compared to where we were. So not far at all. We drove to Auburn on the highway, and then we thought, you know what? Let's drive back home on back roads. Let's not take the highway, because we were not done talking. We were having a great time. One of those moments that you just know. You know that when you're in it, that it's a big deal. So we get off the highway and we start driving on these back roads, and we were lost. We had no idea we were lost, but we were terribly, irrevocably lost. We didn't know we were lost until we saw a sign about 5 hours later that said, "Welcome to Indiana." Because you see, that's where we thought we were. At some point in the middle of the night, we had driven into Ohio. Yeah, we had been driving all night. Like, literally all night. Sun was up. People were on their way to work. It was glorious. We got back on the highway, and we were on the highway for about 2 miles. 2 miles in morning rush hour traffic, surrounded by cars who had better places to be, when all of a sudden the car starts jerking and shaking and vibrating, black smoke pouring out of everything. The car was vibrating so violently that his stereo fell out of the dashboard. And so we pull off to the side of the road, we pop the hood, letting it cool down. I don't know anything about cars, and I'm realizing the more we talk that neither does Bob. And I say, well, hey, when was the last time you had the oil changed? And he looks at me and he goes, "Oil?" That's when I knew we were in trouble. So we nursed the car back to a gas station. We dump the oil, all the oil we can afford, into the engine. definitely a too little too late sort of solution, and we drag the car almost literally back to Grable, me holding the stereo in my hand so the CD doesn't skip. We didn't get lost on purpose, and we didn't know we were lost until well after we were lost. In fact, we didn't know we were lost until we were almost found. And we ended up at the end of every road we took. We ended up going exactly where those roads promised to take us. And just like in my friend Brad's sermon that I kind of half listened to, that's exactly how life is. If you're on a path to destruction, you're going to be destroyed. If you are doing your best, and if you are investing your time and your resources wisely, you're going to end up where that road leads. I sort of stumble along and I end up wherever I end up. I'm surprised a lot. Sometimes they're good surprises, like the whole bus driving thing. I didn't want to do that. I sort of fumbled into that one, and I love it, and I'm good at it. The whole Blood Pines thing. I didn't intend to write a novel. I sat down thinking I was going to write a 5,000 word short story, but it turned into a novel, and it turned into an amazing novel, and I'm super proud of it. Get away from me, bugs. The one thing that actually turned out the way I had thought it would turn out is my life with my wife. I married Betsy hoping that we would be happy, check. Hoping that we would have an amazing family, check. Hoping that we would stay together and live as a single unit and trust each other and rely on each other and lean on each other and help each other, check. I don't even know how many things I listed, but all check. And I gotta tell you, I didn't get here by accident. This took work, and it still takes work, and it's gonna take a lot more work that I haven't even done yet. What I'm trying to say is, you might be lost and you might not even know it. And sometimes being lost leads to some pretty exciting things. But the most exciting things usually take a lot of work and a lot of planning. And you got to be intentional. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys found some kind of value in what I'm saying. Anyway, we'll see you guys later.